The Ninja Warriors is a series I've been aware of for a while, having seen gameplay of its Super Nintendo sequel years ago and being interested. I have also played this original for a little bit at an arcade about 5 years ago, but this Arcade Archives re-release is the first time I'll be doing a full playthrough. In that far-off future of 1993, the President of the US, Bangla, declares martial law. The Ninja Warriors are Kunoichi, the woman in red I'll be playing as, and Ninja, the man in blue who is limited to the second player, so we won't be seeing him. The two are robots, created by a group of anarchist scientists led by a man named Mulk, sent in because they knew that taking on the police and military by themselves was not an option. The game looks the way it does due to the arcade machine having 3 monitors, granting you a much greater view of the stage and what is coming. I start the game and have guys with knives running for me. I can slash while walking and crouch walking, and I have a limited, but larger than expected, amount of shuriken I can throw. The crouch walking is important for the men who try killing me with guns, but then out of nowhere come the grey hunchback guys with metal claws. As Kunoichi takes damage, because she's a robot, her human disguise will be lost and her mechanical parts underneath will become visible. I deal with this guy by walking forward as he jumps back and trying to sneak in a crouch slash to the shins. It takes a while, but it works. After a long wave of knife men with the odd pair of gunmen, I find a leader, but he runs away and makes me fight 2 clawed hunchbacks at once. These ones don't try escaping as much and go down easily. Then another wave of the usual 2 enemies before I get some new ones. I have army men with grenade launchers who shoot in an arc, and mobsters hiding in garages while they try sniping at me. The leader appears again and orders a retreat, but as he runs I manage to kill him with shuriken to the back. They try dogs next, but they don't work either. This opening level music is really good, by the way. I wasn't expecting to hear a song this long in a game from 1987 either. A palette swap of Kunoichi appears, but this one wields a katana. She's good at blocking and jumping, but not at protecting her shins, so several crouch slashes and a few shuriken do her in. I walk in the door at the end to finish the level. That door led to a military base, where the cowards are sending their dogs out first. I get my first death in the game just as a tank comes rolling on screen. My fight is against the soldier manning a turret on top, so I jump on top and start slashing at him. The cannon turned to aim at me can also whack me off though. While I'm on top slashing away, the tank's movement at least carries me a good distance further into the level. I decide balls to the tank and try to outrun it by walking at a leisurely pace. It almost works until the build-up of enemies in front knock me back into its range. It does get bored of me and leave after the next death though. The knife men have all learned a new technique and are desperate to show me, flying kicks. It's more effective than running chest first into my attacks, I suppose. Then comes that most coveted of US Army ranks, the Kabuki who breathes fire. He can even do so while crouching, so he's much smarter than most of what I've fought so far. And he has the ability to teleport. I absolutely love the way he paces about waiting for me to use my next credit. It doesn't last long after that. I get more of the same enemies for a while until I get double hunchbacked again. Then a long wave of the same enemies again until I reach the end of the stage and the tank returns. And no, jumping over it and trying to walk into the exit without fighting doesn't work. I tried. I had to keep throwing shuriken at the turret soldier until he dies, then the tank sulks off so I can finish the level. Inside the base now for level 3. It's the usual faces at first until I reach the part where the tank's in the background and soldiers try riding kites into me. Then some more knife soldiers before fighting another hunchback pair. It may sound like I'm bored bringing up the repeated enemies, but I'm really not. The game's pace keeps it from getting stale along with some really good music if they ever do switch off for a bit. Past them and the next wave is another copycat of Kunoichi but wearing an Oni mask. They fight in the same way but they lack any kind of projectile, so I still win. Then another wave and my katana copycat returns. Then a second one after the next wave. Past that is the long final wave and the boss appears, a man with a spiked ball and chain. I crouch and stand while throwing the last of my shuriken, hoping to catch him while he shifts height so he can't block them. But then I jump into his weapon and die, getting a full refill anyway. After I get bored of that I try the good old brute force and infinite credit strategy, throwing my limbs at him while dying until he dies too. Then through that door. Back out onto the streets, and one of the MIDI instruments in this music really makes me think of Metal Slug. Not long in before the Oni masked ninjas make their return. Then about a 2-minute wave of no new enemies before the level 2 tank shows up with a new guy on the turret. Once again I try outrunning it while swatting down kite flyers. I make this thing follow me for a long time until it eventually gives up. Then this manhole cover explodes on me. It turns out to be another tank from the opposite side of the screen. This one I have to deal with. The fight is unchanged and once it's done I jump down into the sewer for level 5. Don't make dogs run about in the sewer, arseholes. A hunchback shows up and in a bit of a dick move they put really tiny bats down here. Even with a lowered ceiling, they're a pain to hit. Past them is more soldiers and dogs with more bats joining in. Then another hunchback, followed by a second one just as I was beginning to think they were all working alone in this level. Then comes Katana Kunoichi after the next wave, and then a long stretch of soldiers and dogs before a second one appears. Then an Oni mask, and after the next wave, the ball and chain guy from 2 levels ago. He's the boss and no different, so I take him out again to go up the ladder to the game's final level. That sewer led to the White House and I just angrily walk through the front door. This is the biggest collection of gun soldiers all game. Past them is a hunchback being helped out by a laser firing R2-D2. They're quite damaging actually. A repeat of that duo follows up the first pair. After them I go upstairs to face another droid, and then up more stairs for another, teaming up with level 2's Kabuki. Haven't seen him in a while. That floor is a dead end, so I go back down a floor and move right, with another Oni mask taking me on, and another droid. At the end of the floor is another ball and chain man, then up the stairs here for another droid and Oni mask team. Up more stairs for another droid, and then more for a ninja with a katana. The left set of stairs is a dead end, so I go back down and up the right set. I continue right for another ball and chain and droid duo. I ignore one of them to go down the first set of stairs I can, then the next one for another Kabuki. Further right and up 2 sets of stairs to fight the first wave of normal soldiers since I was at the front door. Then comes one last ball and chain guy before I go through the door to the final screen. Bangla is in here, guarded by yet another ball and chain, and also helped by regular soldiers too. He tries shooting me a few times and flees into another room while I deal with all of these. Once they're down, I go through the door to find Bangla cowering against the wall. One cut to the neck is all it takes for me to finish him. However, my leader, Mulk, declares the mission accomplished and activates Kunoichi's self-destruct. The White House is levelled, followed by a badly translated ending scroll. What I gather is after this, a revolution started, but even with Bangla and his army gone, the creation of the robotic, almost invincible Ninja Warriors ensured that peace would not be made. So yeah, the Ninja Warriors. I enjoyed it. I was expecting another frustrating, slow game when I first started and got used to the movement speed, but I learned to enjoy the pace and found being a slow-walking, almost immovable death machine satisfying to play as, especially with that soundtrack. Maybe could have done with less blockable mini-bosses near the end, but that's my only complaint. And there I was thinking I was just getting the first one out of the way, so I could cover the sequel I was more interested in trying out. Not a top 100, but still an enjoyable one.